Hello and welcome back. This is Bog Rips, and I'm here with another episode of the Portugal for Noobs campaign. So the year is 1470. Thus far in the campaign, we have taken Granada, the southern part of the Iberian Peninsula, and we took some provinces from Morocco. So militarily, those were successful conquests. However, administratively, we definitely have some problems with those right now. So first of all, we have 40 overextension, which cores just started. They're pretty expensive. Another issue we have right now is that we have a pretty high religious unity. So that's going to give us some unrest in these newly conquered provinces. We also have corruption. So this is indicated by this flag. Our corruption is growing. So I'm going to sort of use this situation as a segue to talk about a couple of these mechanics that I haven't gone into, specifically the religious mechanic, and then we're going to go colonizing because I've started one colony down here in Tenerife. It's about halfway completed. We have access to one colonist, so we'll be rushing some technology and trying to do more colonizing in the near future. But anyway, first thing I'm going to try and take care of is my corruption. So I haven't explained this mechanic yet, but this appears in the bar at the top. Currently, we have corruption of 0.02, so you can see there in the tooltip it tells you the what is causing that corruption. And so we have overextension, giving us 0.2 per year. So that's pretty much why we have corruption growing. Overextension is something we get for having conquered territory, but having not completed coring it. So coring, it looks like in this case, is going to take us approximately 3 years, which is pretty standard if you are conquering territory with non-accepted cultures that you don't have claims on. So those are a few things that you can do to reduce the coring time and the coring cost, is get claims, accept cultures, and also there's ideas which specifically reduced core creation cost. But anyway, I'm just going to increase my rooting out corruption spending very slightly. So this is how you solve corruption, is just throwing money at it. I'm actually just going to put it all the way to the maximum, and that will, in effect, I'll be paying off my corruption like instantaneously as soon as it shows up. Or actually, that's a bad idea right now. I only have 8 ducats in the bank. If I had a little more, if I had like 100 ducats, I would do this. But let me just put it down so we have a balanced budget. We'll probably still gain a little bit of corruption. That's really fine. Maybe not, actually. Anyway, at the month take, I'll get to see that. Another thing you can do that's pretty interesting with corruption is you can debase your currency, and this gives you the same amount of money that you would get from taking a loan. However, this gives you 2 corruption, and as you saw from the slider, it's pretty expensive to pay off your corruption. So this is a mechanic I don't really mess with. In a lot of situations you can actually earn money from it, but corruption's pretty harmful for your country, so I try to avoid it most of the time. I think generally speaking it's better to pay off loans and just, take loans and pay them off, because that's really only costing you money. So the big thing that corruption does is it makes all of your monarch power cost more. But it also has some hidden benefits. It actually gives you unrest. So if your country's like really dying and very corrupt, you can use this to sort of keep unrest down and keep control of unruly territory. So anyway, I'm gonna let the month pass and then we'll find out. Okay, my corruption is decreasing now by 0.07. I could increase my root out corruption spending to make it go down even faster, but that's fine. I'm just gonna balance my budget. And I could even just gain the corruption and pay it back later. Under about like 5 corruption, you won't really notice. But if you are strapped for cash constantly and are in a situation where you get corruption and you don't pay it down, it can turn into a real problem. Blobbing too far also gives you corruption. So if you have too many states, okay, speaking of states, I can make one state. So just like you can core territory, you have sort of territories and provinces, territories and states. And so states are made up of a few provinces. This one is the Upper Andalusia. I'm going to state it. What this is going to do is it's going to bring my minimum autonomy down to 50 from 75 immediately when I state it. So most likely, yeah, these provinces are all going to be at 50% autonomy. So that's good. That means we just get, you know, a lot more of everything. Like if the autonomy was 75 and now it's 50%, that means we're going to get double of all the stuff that the province gives us. It's going to give us sailors, manpower, and money. And if I now core it again, so there's territorial cores and full cores. So you can see only if you don't have provinces cored at all, they will give you overextension. Granada right now is a territorial core, but I could make it a full core by spending more admin points. But actually that's pretty expensive. I don't think that that's worth it for me. I want to tech up to tech 7 so that I can get another idea group. So I'm going to actually save my admin. I think I'm doing fine. I'll just keep it at 50%. Probably I'm going to end up doing that with the states in Morocco. Okay, so you can see in central Morocco, I only own one of the states. Oh, it has 16 development though, so that's not too bad. But yeah, I have most of this state. Oh, it's already, never mind. So this I've already designated a state because I had Ceuta there. So that's probably why my coring costs are so high for some of these cores, because they're already in a state. I'm paying the full cost. Whereas over here in Granada, I only paid half of the admin cost previously to get those states, and now I need to pay the amount again. But anyway, the cost will decrease because my war exhaustion is at 1, so if I let that tick down to 0, I'll pay less, and then possibly I can bring it down in other ways. So I'm going to wait on that. 50% autonomy is fine, our country's doing fine. I'm going to kick it up to speed 4. We were in a war at the end of the last recording session, but now that war has ended, of course, so just gonna let it go a little faster. So another thing that's going on in these provinces down here is that they are Sunni. Ooh, this is bad. Possibly. Okay, so our monarch just died. I don't think he was very old. And we have a terrible heir. Well, not terrible, but we have a pretty bad heir. Alright, well that's super unfortunate. I don't know how old our monarch was, but I think he was like underage at the start of the game, so couldn't have been older than like 40 or so. Okay, so what happens when your monarch dies is you lose a stability. So I was at 3 stability, and I just dropped down to 2. This is great. This is why I like being at high positive stab, is that I'm still in the positives. I should still get events that drift me up. And we have an heir, or an heiress, but you can only have a ruler at the age of 15. But fortunately, this is a mechanic, you have a queen consort regent. So right now, the widow of my deceased ruler is ruling our country until our heir can come of age. However, our heir is 11 years away from coming of age, and our consort is 55 years old. And so that means that she needs to survive for those 11 years from age 55. So there's a pretty high likelihood that she'll end up dying. So that's kind of a problem, because if your queen consort dies, you will be in a proper regency, which means you can't declare wars, and I think there's some other diplomatic actions that you can't undertake if you're in a full regency. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, though, I should probably look to start any wars I want to start. Sort of, I shouldn't dawdle around for that. I shouldn't wait 5 years. I should get on it. But because I have a truce with Morocco, I just fought them. I can't go down that avenue. I have to wait 10 years to fight them. So probably I'm just going to have to focus on administrating and colonizing for the foreseeable future, which is fine. Portugal's excellent at these things, so in a way we're kind of playing to our strengths. Okay, I want to make more money. How can I make more money? I guess I can just not pay my fleets. I only have a few trade ships, so that should be... Ooh, interesting. Okay, Tunis is gunning down Morocco. That's fine with me. If these countries fight, hopefully this will be kind of a stalemate war. I don't want one of them to become extremely powerful. But if Tunis declared the war, that means they think they can win. Tunis is allied with the Ottomans. probably the Ottomans are in this war. Oh no, they're not. Okay, so Tunis thinks they can do it alone. That was a really... I feel like that was a super success. I'm reminiscing from last session when we managed to fight Morocco without the Ottomans getting involved. Also, I feel like I should mention that I actually sort of misrepresented a game mechanic when I discussed that. So I said there was a possibility that the Ottomans could be called into the war, but actually that was not the case. So I declared war on Morocco. The Ottomans were unwilling to join because they had some occupied provinces. And what actually happened is, as soon as the Ottomans refused to join the war because it was a defensive war, they just lose their alliance. So they broke the alliance immediately. There's other situations where you can keep an alliance with a country but not call them into a war. That would be if you have an offensive war, you don't have to call them in immediately, or if something's going on that makes them not want to join, you can ask them a later date. But the way it worked here is Morocco sent the call to arms. They were like, hey, you've got to defend me. We're allies. You have got to defend me from the Portuguese. And the Ottomans were like, nope. And then they violated their alliance, and then that's the end of it. So anyway, that's great. That's probably going to permanently or semi-permanently keep Morocco from being an ally with the Ottomans. Unfortunately, Tunis is now allied with the Ottomans instead, but we'll hopefully find a position. I mean, you know, we're not bordering them yet, but at some point we may have to go down the road of fighting the Otto Potato. Okay, so separatists, again, we have rebellions. Our budget's not looking great. We're not really out of the woods yet, but I think it's going to be fine. So we have an 80% rebel chance here. So when it ticks up to 90, I'm going to turn this fort on. As you can see, there's 4 provinces where they can rebel. I'm going to actually do something here to try and reduce my rebellion. So you can, I talked about autonomy. You can raise and lower the autonomy in provinces manually in some circumstances. And that will change the unrest. So this autonomy is 50%. I'm going to click this button to give them 25% autonomy. You'll see that the amount of money they give me will go down. So yeah, pretty dramatic reduction there. I pretty much just lost half the value that this province was giving me. But that's okay because it's only a 3 development province. And now you can see that the unrest is at 0, or specifically negative 2.5. Now why do I do this? This is going to make the rebellion take longer to fire. It's still going to fire within a year. But more importantly to me right now, it's going to reduce the number of troops because there's 1 fewer province which wants to rebel. So anyway, let some time tick. I have an advisor slot. I'm actually, I really should have that advisor, but I'm kind of broke. But a colonial range advisor would be good for reasons I'll explain when I get into the colonial mechanics a little later in this recording session. But for now, trying to do some unrest management. Trying to administrate my unruly, problematic, recently conquered land. So again, oh, this is bad. I wasn't paying close enough attention, and the Grenadins went from 90% to 100%. And let's see, there's these 3 provinces that they could fire in. They will probably fire in the one with the highest development. Okay, so they're probably going to fire in Granada. That's my best case scenario, actually. So I can turn this fort on. They're going to appear, I think, tomorrow. One thing that I could do, this is an option for managing rebels, is you can click this Handle Them button. I could just accept their demands, and I would release Granada as a free nation. It's not a good idea. I fought hard for it. I will like to keep it. I could boost my stability. That'll reduce unrest. That's not really going to make the rebellion go away. But my stability does give me national unrest -2. I could get 1 more unrest that way. Or I can use harsh treatment. So this way I spend military power to crack down on the rebels. Sort of a boot-stomping fascist thing going on. And that'll reduce their progress by 30%, which will put it at 70, which would give me a few more months probably to handle the rebellion. But actually, this is fine. I just got this province out, so I think the rebellion stack is maybe 2,000 or 3,000 smaller than it would have been. I have 15k, which I can use to fight their 16k. I can probably handle that. So I'm going to turn this fort on. Hopefully the rebels will fire tomorrow in Granada. The fort will go from 0 mate garrison to 120 garrison at the turn of the month. And that'll be enough garrison that I don't get the malice in Granada. So if rebels siege down a province and that province is not in the zone of control of a fort, they'll add separatism to the province. I'm gonna move my army over. I increase the maintenance, so this army will be ready to fight. Okay, so you can see here, because of the fort in Malaga, this had no further effect on the province. So I could have gotten separatism, which translates into future unrest, but I didn't. So that's really great. Managed to sort of, I don't know, play in a risky game there, to be honest with you, but it worked out. So usually when rebels are in a province next to a fort, they will go into the fort. So I think that's what's going to happen here. Just give them a few months. Rebels stand around for a while. I'm losing a little money, but I can do this for like a year. I can comfortably do this for about a year before. Okay, there they go. So now they're in my mountain fort province. If I attack them there, I will be the beneficiary of the dice roll modifier for the province. Oh, look at that, I'm just crushing them. So rebel groups are, some of them are better and worse than others. I think separatists aren't very good, particularists aren't very good. They don't have great leaders, and they don't have very much cavalry. The most dangerous rebel types are noble rebels and pretender rebels, because they tend to have very good generals and a lot of cavalry. Okay, pretty good battle, I guess. Gonna be, yeah, a lot of losses for me. So that's 5,000 manpower. I don't have a ton of manpower, but I'm near the cap, so that's fine. I get some army tradition out of this. So basically, if I hit the manpower cap, I just will be wasting my increase. So in this case, I spend manpower to get army tradition, which is fine for me right now. It's gonna cost me a lot of money to reinforce those armies, unfortunately, so I'm gonna reduce the expenditure. See if I can balance my budget again. Don't want to take out more loans right now. Part of the reason my budget is so strained is because I'm colonizing. I'm spending 2 ducats per month on this colony. But yeah, the real problem is that I want more colonies in the future, so I have to get my, gotta get my cash up. Great, okay, this is fantastic. Okay, this is a one-time Portugal-specific historical event, so I'm just gonna read it. The Congolese Mangi Congo Garcia I has, at the urging of our missionaries, embraced the Holy Mother Church and the one true faith. The Congolese are already calling for priests, Bibles, and aid establishing their local church that only we can give. The Congolese Mani Congo, who is now a Catholic brother monarch, has pledged his friendship to our kingdom for our help in leading him to the true faith. Another investment pays off. So we get prestige and papal influence. That is a really good prestige influx. Look at that. We have a bunch of pope points now, 70 of them. And that means, I think, that Congo, yeah, Congo's Catholic. They're going to try and convert their fetishist land to Catholic. So we'll see how that goes for them. I could ally them. Maybe. No, they're too far probably. Yeah, distance between borders is minus 100. Actually, speaking of this, I would like another ally. I only have 2 allies. England and Castile. Very good allies, though. But I'm going to get one more. I'm going to ally... I can ally the Papal State. So I'm sending my diplomat over there to improve my relations. In a few months, our relations will go up. You can see I'm very close. I'm like 1 reason away from getting an alliance, so that's no problem. Speaking of diplomats, a high spy network on Morocco, so I'm going to spend that down. Get some claims for future wars with them. Yeah, this Moroccan land is like pretty good. Oh, where's that gold mine? Yeah, I want to get that gold mine. So the Moroccan land being fairly high development is actually a bit of a problem for me right now. So I have 61% religious unity, which as you can see is giving me some issues. National unrest +1. My stability cost is almost +40, so that's going to be really expensive if I have to pay the administrative cost to increase my stability. So I really want to convert that land, but you'll see in the religion tab, I can't. If I want to convert that land, I need my missionary strength, as indicated by this little tooltip, to be over 0. So right now it's negative, which means I can't do missionary strength at all. If it was slightly over 0, I could convert lands, but it would take a very long time. And if it went up high, like suppose it was like +4 instead of -4, I would convert land very quickly. But as you can see, it also costs money, which I'm not sure I can really fit into my budget right now. When my coring finished, my budget will be a bit more balanced. It looks like it's almost done. So that'll be something I'll look to do in the long term. Actually, let me turn this fort off now that the rebellion is crushed. You'll see these provinces now have negative nearly 100 unrest because we just had a recent uprising there. But this one hasn't fired. Those are going to fire soon, which is part of the reason I'm leaving the fort on. So you can see here also the fort, it's converting this province for me, even though I just turned it off. Forts are nice. It's good to have a few forts, but not too many, as they're very expensive. So I'm going to send this guy over here into my Moroccan land, and I'm going to try and find a province which has some unrest, but not very much. Okay, perfect. You see how Ceuta there has 3.8? I'm going to put this army in Ceuta. So just like I increased the autonomy on Granada in order to get the unrest below 0, I'm going to try to get the unrest in Ceuta below 0, but this time the way I'm going to do it is by putting an army there. So having armies on provinces, as you probably inferred by now, reduces the unrest. You can see there's friendly troops are giving me a negative 0.56 unrest, so that's not very much. If I increase my military maintenance, ooh, I can't lose that much money. I'm going to increase it just a little bit though. I can get that number up. Hopefully. Oops, there it is. Yeah, so it went up a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to get it below 0 actually with this stack of troops. Even at full maintenance, I'm not sure it would be enough. I forget exactly the like ratio, but I think each regiment gives 0.2 lowered unrest. So I would need 15,000 troops to get -3. How many do I have? Look at that, I do have 15,000 troops, so maybe it's possible, but they'd have to be at full strength and fully maintained, which is money. So I'm actually just gonna hold off from this. Maybe what I'll do is increase the autonomy here. The autonomy is 0, and it will tick down. So that's fine, I think that's my best call. So that's gonna reduce my income here by 0.08. I'm not gonna notice that. I can actually lower my army maintenance to get much more than that back. Yeah, there you go. So basically trading 0.08 ducats a month for 1 ducat a month in military savings. This is going to start ticking down, and now you can see the unrest is 0. Probably also in the stability and expansion tab. This rebellion, as there's 1 fewer province involved, just got a little smaller. I think it was 19k before, so that's great. So yeah, we want these to go pretty slowly so that I can have time for my army to recover. And then I will need to build more troops, but again, this is money which I'm trying to avoid. Oh, so I had a claim on this province. Claims last 25 years, so that one just expired. Okay, so that's enough about unrest and unrest management and rebel fighting. I'll do this. It's really not a very, it's no one's favorite thing to do, but it's kind of an anti-blobbing necessary mechanic for this game. So I'm going to talk about religion. As I explained, I have negative missionary strength in all of my non-Catholic provinces. In some of them I'm pretty close, so Gibraltar I'm close. Higher development makes it harder to convert provinces, so I'm going to have a really hard time converting this 16 development province versus the 3 development province. However, the reward from doing so is much greater for the 16 development province. So probably the easiest way to get missionary strength that any country can do is there's an advisor for it. However, that advisor is not available to us. We could make that advisor available by firing advisors. So if you fire an advisor, the next month a new one will appear in their place, and it's a random chance which advisor it is. So if I fired one advisor a month for 6 months, chances are I could get a missionary strength advisor. But I don't have enough money. You can see it's expensive. It costs more to fire the level 2 advisors. I could get rid of this guy and then fire them, but don't want to do that. Oh, sorry, dismiss the advisor. I fire advisors from advising me and I dismiss them from my court. So I use whatever words. Anyway, we're just waiting for these cores to finish. Trying to balance my budget, trying to hope this rebellion doesn't kick my ass too hard. Oh, look at that. This is a great event. And maybe, no, I'm gonna finish religion first. Let me put this, I'm just gonna hit okay. So I gain 100 population because natives assimilated in my colony. So there are a few ways right now I can get missionary strength other than having the advisor. There's a bunch of ideas here. This is something I haven't talked about, but there's a decisions and policies tab here in your country view. And when certain requisites are met, you can enact decisions. So here, these buttons, the question mark is going to tell you what you need to do, and the envelope with a check mark is going to tell you what you get. So you'll see several of these check marks include missionary strength. There you go, this one would give me 1% missionary strength, which is great. I only need 2 in order to convert some of my provinces. That one gives me missionary strength, look at that. But what do I need to get those? I need admin technology. Ooh, I can do that one if I have a theologian, which is a type of advisor. I can get that one if I'm administrative technology 6. That one with administrative technology 10. So if I just advance my admin tech to 8 and then 10, that'll give me the ability to convert a lot of provinces. If I have the advisor, then I would only need 1 of those bonuses to convert most of my provinces. But for now I can't really do anything, so I'm just gonna wait this out for now. Somewhere it tells you, okay, there it is. So this guy's an artist. This guy's a philosopher. This guy's the natural scientist. I forget what all the titles are, I just remember their bonuses for the most part. But I need a theologian to get that 1 missionary strength bonus, and I also do not have that. Okay, core is completed. It's gonna make my budget a little better most likely next month. Yeah, quite a budgetary improvement for sure. Because now I'm paying less to root out my corruption, because the overextension was giving me corruption. Great. Oops, okay. Ah, my colony's finished. Okay, excellent. I'm going to look up that province to decide which of these I want to do. Or I don't really need to look it up, do I? It's here. Okay, so this is a wine-producing province. Wine is a pretty good trade good, so I think I'm going to increase production. Yeah, I don't have any buildings that would increase my tax or manpower, so just gonna go for the production improvement. That's great, look at that. More development for free, money for nothing. I can access a new idea. Yeah, might as well. Okay, so earlier I was talking about this guy, my colonial range advisor. So colonial range is a modifier which governs how far away you can build colonies from your existing lands. Oh, this sucks. Castile sniped me on this by not very much at all. They just got here, only 54 out of 1,000 settlers. So I would have liked to colonize this province next, but unfortunately I didn't have the chance. Castile, my good buddy, we're kind of rivals in a lot of manners in this game, so this stuff's gonna happen. There's other colonizable provinces. So you can see here, I can send a colonist there. It is arid, so it's gonna grow more slowly. This colony doesn't have any modifiers. It would have been much better. But even though this land is colonizable, I cannot reach it with my current colonial range, as indicated by the tooltip.